Okay, you've been there, right? You make a perfectly reasonable point, and then someone comes along and twists it into some kind of extreme, undefendable nightmare. Well, in this explainer, we're going to decode that exact move. It's one of the most common and manipulative debate tactics out there. And more importantly, we're going to give you the tools to shut it down. For good. Let's dive in. You see these 6 words? So what you're saying is, honestly, they might just be some of the most dangerous words in the English language. This isn't someone trying to understand you better. No. This is the opening shot. It's an attempt to hijack the entire conversation and paint you as some kind of extremist. All right, first things first, let's really break down the anatomy of this trap. Because once you can see it for what it is, once you can name it, that's when you can start to diffuse its power. So let's give this infuriating little tactic a name. We'll call it the exaggeration gambit. And at its heart, it's basically an intellectual hijacking. Someone takes your perfectly moderate, nuanced point and just blows it up. They twist it into something so extreme, so absolute, that it's literally impossible to defend. So what's the psychology here? I mean, why even do this? Well, it's because they're afraid. A dishonest debater knows that if an audience starts to think your view is even a little bit plausible, they might lose ground. So this whole gambit is designed to just nip that in the bud. They stop any reasonable opposition before it can even get a hearing. And here is the playbook in action. It's a classic. You state a general, widely accepted principle, and bam! The manipulator just jumps to the most absurd, extreme example they can think of. See, they're not actually arguing with your point anymore. They're fighting a ridiculous caricature they just invented on the spot. And come on, be honest. Hasn't this happened to you? Maybe in the comments section online, or even across the dinner table with family. You're just left there, sputtering, trying to explain that, no, of course you don't support that insane thing they just accused you of. You're suddenly defending a position you never even held. It's maddening. Now, this isn't just some sneaky, dirty trick. It's actually a well-documented logical fallacy, and it has a formal name, the straw man attack. So the exaggeration gambit is really a form of the straw man fallacy, and the name is perfect, right? Think about it. You build a scarecrow, a man made of straw, so you can easily knock it down. The manipulator knows they can't take on your real argument, so they build a weak, flimsy version of it and beat that up instead. It's a performance. And this is why it's so darn effective. It works on so many levels. First, it replaces your strong argument with a weak, fake one. Then, it immediately puts you on the defensive. But the sneakiest part? It shifts the whole debate away from logic and into pure emotion. And suddenly, the person twisting your words gets to look like the calm, reasonable one. You know, a really subtle way they do this is by playing with everyday language. You might say a policy is good, and they'll act like you said it was flawless and perfect. You say an outcome is bad, and they'll pretend you just compared it to the worst thing in human history. They exploit vagueness. And get this, this is not some new thing invented by internet trolls. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer literally wrote the playbook for this way back in 1831. His book, The Art of Being Right, was basically a sarcastic guide on how to win arguments using dirty, logically flawed tricks. He knew something profound. Audiences often find a cheap takedown way more entertaining than a dry, reasoned debate. Okay, so we've thoroughly diagnosed the problem. Now, what do we do about it? How do we solve it? Let's get into the solution, which I'm calling the boundary setting framework. All right, here is the absolute #1 rule, the most important thing you have to remember. You must stop playing their game. The second you start defending their fake argument, the second you say, no, of course I don't think we should shout bomb in an airport, but you've already lost. The trick is to refuse to engage with the straw man at all. So here's a super simple 2-step framework you can use right away. Step 1, you name it. Calmly, without getting angry, you just say, that is not what I said, that is a straw man. And then step 2, you immediately restate your actual position. You drag them, and anyone listening, right back to the real argument. You expose the trick. Now, if you want to take your game to an even higher level, you can flip the script entirely. See, elite critical thinkers, they don't strawman. They do the opposite, something called steel manning. This is where you actually try to state your opponent's argument in its strongest, most convincing form before you even try to argue against it. That's the sign of real confidence. And this gives you an incredibly powerful tool. If someone keeps strawmanning you, you can call them out directly with this line. If you can't address the strongest version of my point, you aren't ready to debate it. Just like that, you've reframed their cheap trick for what it is, a sign of weakness. Okay, let's wrap this up with the single most powerful, most practical tool you can pull out of your back pocket. Think of this as your cheat code for instantly exposing this tactic in any conversation. So the very next time somebody hits you with a "so what you're saying is," I just want you to pause, look at them, and ask this one simple question. Can you repeat my actual point? Not their twisted version of it, your actual original point. And then just watch what happens. More often than not, you'll see them freeze. Why? It's simple. A person who uses a straw man wasn't actually listening to understand you. They were just listening for a few key words they could grab and twist. This one question reveals they weren't engaging in good faith at all. It is truly the ultimate BS detector. So next time you're in a discussion, the choice is really yours. A good debate is about an honest exchange of ideas, not about misrepresenting someone for cheap points. Now that you can spot the trap and you have the tools to dismantle it, the only question left is, are you going to let them put words in your mouth?